أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر. ليلة القدر خير من ألف شهر. تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر. سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه من جميع ظلمي وجرمي وإسرافي على نفسي وأتوب إليه. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء. يا نور يا قدوس يا نور يا قدوس يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي كهد كل سام. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقام. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء. اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأته. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكري وأستشفئ بك إلى نفسي وأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من قربي وأن تؤزعني شكري وأن تلهمني ذكري. اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متذلل الخاشع أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني بقسمك راضيا قانعا وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا. اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته وعظم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم أظم سلطانه وعلى مكانه وخفي مكروه وظهر أمره وغلب قهره وجرت قدرته ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومته. اللهم لا أجد لذنوبي غافرا ولا لقبائه ساترا ولا لشيء من عملي القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيره. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك ظلمت نفسي ظلمت نفسي ظلمت نفسي وتجارأت بجهلي وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. سيد الصلوات. What part of the ayahs? Allahumma. Shaitan salawat inshallah. اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترته وكم من فادح من البلاء أقلته وكم من إثار وغيته وكم من مكروه دفعته وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرته. اللهم عظم بلائي وأفرج بسوء حالي وقصرت في أعمالي وقعدت في أغلالي وحبس لي النفعي بعد أملي وخدعتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بجنايتها ومثالي يا سيدي. فأسألك بعزتك أن لا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي ولا تفضحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملت في خلباتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي ودبام تفريتي وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي. وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا وعلي في جميع الأمور أتوفا. إلهي وربي من لي غيره أسأل كشف ضري والنذر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي ولم أحترز فيه من تزيين عدوي فقرني بما أهوى وأسعده على ذلك القضاء فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعد حدوده وخالفت بعد أوامره. فلك الحمد علي في جميع ذلك ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاء وألزمني حكمك وبلاء. فقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مغرا مذعنا مؤترفا. لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني ولا مفزعا أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في سعة رحمتك. اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة غري وفكني من شد الطاغي يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني يا رب ارحم everyone ضعف بدني ارحم ضعف ورقة جلدي ودقة عظمي يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتقضيتي أبني لابتداء كرمي وسالف برك بي يا إلهي وسيدي وربي أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدي وبعد من تبى عليه قلبي بالمعرفة ولهج به لساني من ذكري واعتقده ضميري من حبي وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتي هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من ربيت أو تبعد من أدليت أو تشرد من آويت أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدة وعلى ألسن نتقت بتوحيدك صادقة وبشكرك مادحة وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققة وعلى ضمائر حوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة وعلى جوارح سأت إلى أوتان كعبدك طائعة وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنة وهكذا الظن بي ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنه يا كريم يا رب يا كريم يا رب يا كريم يا رب سيد الصلوات Hassan, you don't need a microphone for YouTube. Recite الان الصلوات ان شاء الله. يا كريم يا رب وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلايا الدنيا وعقوباتها وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها ألا أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه قليل مكثور يسير بقاؤه قصير مدته فكيف احتمالي لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبه وانتقامك وسخطك وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض يا سيدي فكيف لي وأنا عبدك الضعيف ذليل حقير مسكين المستكين يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي لأي الأمور إليك أشكو ولما منها أضج وأبكي لأليم العذاب وشدته أملت للبلاء ومدته فلئن سيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائي وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك فهبني صبرت على حرب نارك فكيف أصبر عن النذر إلى كرامتك أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجائي عفوك فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناطقا لأضجن إليك بين أهل ضجيج الآملين ولا صرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين ولا أبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين ولا أنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين يا غاية آمال العارفين يا غياث المستغيثين يا غياث المستغيثين يا غياث المستغيثين يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين يا إله العالمين فتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته ضاغت مأذابها بمعصيته وحبس بين أتباعها بجرمه وجريرته وهو يضج إليك ضجيج مؤمل لرحمتك ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك يا مولاي فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يأمل فضلك ورحمتك أم كيف يحرقه ليبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفه أم كيف يتغلغل بين أتباعها وأنت تعلم صدقه أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا رب أم كيف يرجو فضلك في إتقي منها فتترك فيها هيهات ما ذلك الظن بي ولا المعروف من فضلي ولا مشبع لما عاملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك فباليقين أقتوا لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاحدي وقضيت به من إخلاد معاندي لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما وما كان لأحد فيها مغرا ولا مقاما لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين وأنت جل ثناؤك قلت مبتدعا وتتولت بالإنعام متكرما أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون. صلوات.
It's almost last part of the dua, like I always remind ourselves. Yeah, we have to think of those who used to be with us, your loved ones, and those in midst of dua, and those also who sponsor the program. Tonight also, as we're going to recite Fatiha for all of them, is Sawab inshallah goes to Marhoomin Sayyid Arif Hassan Rizvi, Ishad Banu Rizvi, Sayyid Asif Hassan Rizvi, Miraj Banu Rizvi, and also Shabbari Begum. Inshallah we would recite Fatiha at the end of the dua come in. التماس الدعاء نسألكم الدعاء.
إلهي وسيدي فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وقلبت من عليه أجريتها أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته وكل ذنب أذنبته وكل قبيح أسررته وكل جهل أملت كتمت أو أعلنت أخفيت أو أظهرت وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جباره وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائه والشاهد لما خفي عنه وبرحمتك أخفيت وبفضلك سترت وأن توفر حظي من كل خير أنزلت أو إحسان فضلت أو بر نشرت أو رزق بسطت أو ذنب تغفر أو خطأ تستر يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي. When he comes to saying Ya Rabbi, don't be shy. You're actually calling upon your Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So don't be shy, especially a night of Rahman, night of Maghfirah. Ya Ilahi wa Sayyidi wa Mawla wa Malik Riqi, Ya man biyadi nasiyati, Ya Alim al-Bidurri wa Maskanati, يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي أحسن يا ربي. أسألك بحقك وقدسك وعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي من الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورة وبخدمتك موصولة، وآمالي عندك مقبولة حتى تكون آمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا، وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا. يا سيدي يا من عليه مؤولي، يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا ربي يا ربي. قم على خدمتك جباره، واشتد على العزيمة جوانحي، وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك حتى أسرع إليك في ميادين السابقين، وأسرع إليك في البارزين، واشتاق إلى غربك في المشتاقين، وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين، فأخافك مخافة الموقنين، واجتمع في جبارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فارد، ومن كادني فكد، واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك، وأقربهم منزلة منك، وأخصم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك. وجد لي بجودك، واعتف علي بمجدك، واحفظني برحمتك، واجعل لساني بذكرك لإجاب، وقلبي بحبك متيما، ومن علي بحسن إجابتك، وأقل لي عثرتي، واغفر زلتي، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك، وأمرتهم بدعائك، وضمنت لهم الإجابة. فإليك يا ربي نصبت وجهي وإليك يا رب مددت يدي فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي وبلغني مناي ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء فإنك فعال لما تشاء يا من اسمه دواء وذكره شفاء وطاعته غنى ارحم الرأس مال الرجاء وسلام البكاء يا سابق النعم يا دافع النغم يا نور المستوحشين في الظلام يا عالما لا يعلم صل على محمد وآل محمد افعل بي ما أنت أهله صلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا.
There are a lot of people asking for, Amman Yajib, inshallah. At this time, we would recite 5 times Amman Yajib, and then Fatiha, and then we would benefit from the rest of the program. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء 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 اللهم عجل لبليك الفرج. Inshallah, recite the Fatiha. As I always mention, that we owe it to them. Those who used to be with us, a lot of them, they're not here. And I always say, who knows if I'm going to be here next year or even next week. And those especially that your loved ones, anyone you can think of. Also the people who have sponsored the program. Tonight we have the name. And beside all the Marhoomin Sayyid Arif Hassan Rizvi, Marhoom Nishhat Banu Rizvi, Sayyid Asif Hassan Rizvi, Miraj Banu Rizvi, and also Shabbari Begum, and also Sister Sonia Ahmad Khani, who was buried today. Rahimallah man yaqra al-Fatiha mal-ikhlas was-salawat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وخاتم النبيين وسيد المرسلين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. Respected elders and brothers and sisters, today we have gathered here. It's a very special occasion. It's not only Thursday night, which is the special night of the week, a night of dua and a night of istighfar, a night of Allah's special rahmah, but it's also the night in which we are commemorating the wilada of Imam Musa al-Kadhim alayhi salam. So on this occasion, I want to congratulate all of you, and inshallah let's recite a salawat, please. So we didn't have any poetry this evening, so we need to replace that, inshallah, with the barakah of a lively, heartfelt, loving, united salawat, please. Okay, that was good. That was good. Alhamdulillah. So my congratulations to all of you on this special occasion. Inshallah, I'll be mentioning some things about Imam al-Kadhim alayhi salam, and then we're going to have a bit of an interactive portion after that, where I'll be asking you some questions and asking you for some feedback. So for those of you who want to participate in that interactive portion, I would like to invite you to move to the front. There's a microphone that's there, or it's going to be there for the brothers, and there's going to be a microphone there for the sisters as well. So any of the sisters who wants to participate in that, they can just move to the front, and please don't be shy. And then the brothers as well too, if you want to participate, you can do that. If you want to just kick back and kind of just watch, that's fine as well. And of course, if you want to converse or have a conversation or discussion, then you can inshallah be in the back of the hall. Please say salawat. So when it comes to the occasion of the wilada of Imam Musa al-Kadhim alayhi salam, this is one of the dates which is mentioned, that it is approximately the 20th of Dhul Hijjah. And in the riwayat, it's mentioned that he was born to Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam and his mother. As they were returning from performing the Hajj. So one of the gifts of the Hajj was the birth of Imam Musa al-Kadhim alayhi salam. And when he was born, it was a great source of joy to Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam. After he was born, he was seen to be very happy. And for 3 days, he fed the people as a walima, as a way of appreciating the blessing of Imam Musa alayhi salam. And this love that he showed him, of course, the Imams, they did everything out of reason, out of wisdom. The Imam wanted to make it clear from the beginning that Imam Musa alayhi salam was different, he was special, he was unique, and he was sending the signals to those who are looking for them that after him, Imam Musa would be the successor. Those of you who have had the great tawfiq of being able to visit the shrine of Imam Musa al-Kadhim alayhi salam, and you've had the tawfiq to go to Kadhimain, in which both our 7th Imam and our 9th Imam alayhim salam are buried, you know that there's always a special connection that the followers of the Ahlul Bayt have with that mazar, that place of doing ziyarah. And as we're gathered here tonight, we can't help but to think about that, and to those of you who have been there, you can, those scenes come to your mind. It's a very beautiful, very serene, a special spiritual place. And throughout history, many people, even those who didn't follow the school of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, but they knew that there's something special at these graves, and they would go and they would seek their hajat, and they would usually they would find results. They would get what they were looking for. So we hope that our being here attentively, inshallah, with that niyyah of trying to get closer to the Ahlul Bayt and trying to remember them, that inshallah it be counted and it be something which brings us closer to the Imam alayhi salam, and we hope that we get the tawfiq to do his ziyarah soon, inshallah. So I wanted to mention a couple of stories from his life, and then I want to get some feedback from all of you. We're going to make it a little bit more interactive. I'll be asking you guys some questions, inshallah. One of the titles of Imam Musa alayhi salam is that he was known as Al-Abd Salih. He was known as the righteous servant of Allah. And all the Imams were Abd Salih. They were all righteous servants. But Imam Musa alayhi salam, this was one of his known titles. And I wanted to relate a couple of incidents from his life which show us some aspects of his connection to Allah as inspiration for us. As there's so many dimensions of perfection, which one do you choose? But tonight I wanted to focus on this dimension of the Imam alayhi salam. So one of the incidents that I found was very interesting. It occurred when Imam Musa alayhi salam was just a young man, a youth, a young person, and he was near the Kaaba and he was praying. So one of the famous Sufis of the time, Sufyan al-Thawri, he saw the Imam praying near the Kaaba, and there's a lot of people there. They were doing tawaf. There was a lot of, it was a crowd. So Sufyan goes to him and he starts to chide him. He says that you're doing salah here, right? After all, in salah you need a place which is calm. You need quiet. Why are you praying here with all this people here? It's better that you go off to the side and find a place where there's khalwa. It's a place of solitude, and then you can do your prayers there. Now, it's a typical example of people, of those who are trying to, you have to know your place, right? You can't go to the teachers of the religion and tell them that this is the way the religion needs to be practiced. You have to learn the religion from them. So when he makes this, suggestion, he's thinking that, okay, it's a holier experience if you pray in khalwa. And maybe for him it was. Maybe for him, it didn't work for him to pray in a place with so much crowd. What does the Imam alayhi salam respond to him? He says that alladhi usalli lahu aqrabu ilayya min ha'ula. He says the one that I am praying to is closer to me than all of these people right here. You think that the presence of all these people is a distraction to me, or somehow that their presence is somehow taking me away from Allah? Well, I'm the one I'm talking to him. He's closer to me than all these people. So what's the big deal, right? I don't need a place of khalwa. Now, of course, he's not saying that there's something wrong with having a place of khalwa, but he's trying to teach Sufyan a lesson that there's a reason why he's praying there, right? It's not the case that he needs to find that in order to find that connection to Allah. So that's one incident that is something that's of inspiration to all of us, inshallah. The second incident is from the time when the Imam alayhi salam was imprisoned. And Harun al-Rashid, la'natullahi alayhi, he had tried many different ways of some way or the other trying to make the position of the Imam lower in the eyes of the people. But whatever he tried, he only saw that the Imam day by day kept on finding more of a place in the hearts of the people. So one of the techniques, this is a technique of desperation, he says that, well, let me send one of my people there, maybe that person will sort of infiltrate and be able to accuse the Imam of doing things, and maybe, eventually this will ruin his reputation. So he arranges for a servant to go and be with the Imam in the place where he was being imprisoned. So the servant goes, and then Harun says that, I want you to, he tells the prison guard that after some time, go and just see what's happening, and report back to me. So the prison guard goes back to Harun al-Rashid after some time and says that servant that you sent, I found that she was in sujood, and she's crying, and she's repeating this dhikr of Allah, where she is saying, Subhanaka Allahumma, Allahumma. she kept on repeating the dhikr of Allah. So Harun gets very upset because he says that this is not what was intended in this. He was saying Qudusun subhanaka subhanaka. He's very upset. He says, what is this? Like I sent this servant here to like kind of conspire against Imam Musa al-Kadhim, and now she's doing sujood. She's repeating the dhikr of Allah. What's going on here? So he summons her to his palace, and then he starts to interrogate her. Like, what happened? So she says that this is what happened. When I went to the presence of the Imam's response to my being there was, he quoted an ayah of the Quran. He says, "Bal antum bihadiyatikum tafrahun." Those of you who are familiar with this ayah, it's from which story? Anybody know? Ahsantam, yeah. I knew that Brother Abdullah would answer. Alhamdulillah. So the story of Nabi Sulaiman, when Bilqis and her, like when she wants to sort of, maybe she's thinking that, okay, I can give Sulaiman like a good gift, and then he won't come and invade us and attack us or whatever like that. So she sends a gift, and then he gets it, and he kind of laughs. He's like, what is this? Like, you might find this to be something which is like a source of happiness, but Allah's given me something much greater than this, right? I mean, I'm here for, like, the purpose of Sulaiman's kingdom was tawheed, was to allow people to find a connection with Allah. It wasn't about these simple things of like worldly gifts and exchanging them or something. He had a greater purpose in mind. Bal antum bihadiyatikum tafrahun, Imam Musa alayhi salam says. So then she says that, okay, well, I realized that Imam Musa had a purpose. And I saw that he was busy doing his prayers. He made use of the time in prison. And after some time, I went back to him and I said that, well, is there anything I can do, anything I can help you with? And he says that basically the gist of what he says is that there's no need. I don't need anything from you. I don't need anything from those people who sent you. I'm fine. And then she says that after he said that and he's praying, suddenly I saw a vision. And in the vision, I saw that there was a beautiful garden. And I saw that the Imam alayhi salam was being served by numerous servants, and each one of them looked like a heavenly creature, and each one of them was so perfect and so beautiful, and they were serving him so much. And they turned to me and they looked at me and said that, do not trouble al-abd salih. Don't be a source of bother to him. Leave him alone. And she says that when that vision ended, I was so overcome by the beauty that I saw, and by the one who put that beauty in the scene that I saw. Then I fell to sujood, and I kept on repeating Qudus subhanaka subhanak, and I couldn't stop doing that. And this is what happened. Now Harun was very upset because he realized that Imam Musa alayhi salam, that nothing like this would ever be able to harm him. And what happened there is that he tells, his prison guards is that, like, don't let her share this story with other people, because it would make things even worse if they see that this is what the type of miracles that Imam Musa alayhi salam is able to do. And what happens then is that after the shahada of Imam al-Kadhim, and then soon afterwards, she also left this world. Now, brothers and sisters, from this story, one of the things that we can take from it is that when somebody gets close to the Imam, and they also are affected by the position of the Imam and the closeness of the Imam to Allah. Here she was just in the proximity of the Imam while he's doing his salah, and imagine what she sees. She sees that beyond this physical world, like, there's something much greater and much better and much more wonderful, something that has been created and exists. And the Imams alayhim as-salam are not just present in this world, but they have a presence beyond this world as well. And she saw just a glimpse of some of the perfections of the Imam and his spiritual status. And this is something which is a source of inspiration for us, that when we take the Imams as our guides, when we talk about wilaya, when we talk about getting close to the Imams, being always seeking that proximity to them, being able to worship like them as well too, it's not something that's an empty exercise, not something that's just done for no reason. In it, there's a lot that is what we're seeking. So we hope that inshallah that we can take these stories as an example for ourselves. Now, for the remainder of the speech, what I wanted to do is I've chosen 3 sayings of Imam Musa al-Kadhim alayhi salam, 3 pearls of wisdom from the Imam's sayings. And I wanted to state them and I'll read them out. And for each one of them, I'll be asking you to participate. You can give your feedback, inshallah. It will be a chance for you to reflect on it. And hopefully, it will be more of a comprehensive learning experience for all. We'll benefit more by making it more interactive. So please recite salawat. I know that we also are joined with an audience online, and I hope that in their families, circles, as they're watching the program, they can also be discussing these things. These discussions are very important to have even on a family level. So the first hadith, which is reported from the Imam alayhi salam, is part of the advice that he gave Hisham ibn Hakam. He says, "Mathalu dunya, mathalu ma'il bahr, kullama shariba minhu al-atshanu izdada atshan hatta yaqtuluh." He says that the likeness of this dunya, of this world, the likeness of this world is the likeness of the water of the sea. However much that somebody who's thirsty drinks from that water, it increases their thirst until that water kills them. Okay, so the first question I have for you is that why is it that somebody who drinks seawater gets more thirsty? So okay, where's the microphones? Where do we have them? I know that they were set up here. Where's Hassan Bhai? Do you see? Is there a microphone there? They told me that it's set up here. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So any of the sisters, well, until we get that microphone, that's on. Okay. And then is there another one? There should be another one too.
Anybody wants to answer? Did you want to ask a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to give the sisters a chance as well too. So there's no microphone there? You didn't see anything? No? Okay, sorry about that. All right. Inshallah will come. Is there one more?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. If one of the sisters could just get the microphone. Thank you so much. Okay, so first question for the brother. So why is it that somebody gets more thirsty when they drink the seawater? Anybody? So give me a little bit of a scientific explanation.
Assalamualaikum. I think if I remember correctly, it has something to do with one solution being hypertonic and the other being hypotonic.
Okay, now you got beyond me here. Okay, so can you explain more?
So I think one, because it's the minerals that's dissolved in the hypertonic will I can't remember the exact process.
The osmosis?
Osmosis. So it goes from the higher maybe the less concentration to the more.
So it diffuses,
high
right?
concentration,
Yeah.
So it sucks the water out instead of.
Exactly. So what happens is that the water gets sucked out, okay, of the cells. The water gets sucked out of the body cells when you drink salt water. Okay, now the body wants to get rid of this excess salt that's in its system. But how does it get rid of it? It gets rid of it through the waste products of the body. But the body waste product, it does not produce, the waste does not have as much salt content as the salt water that you're putting in. So the more salt water that you put in the body is trying to get rid of it, but it can't take out that salt, and the salt content increases more and more. And what happens as a result is that the body, the cells are shrinking, and the blood pressure gets higher, and it just wreaks havoc in the body. Eventually, that person is going to die. Okay, so what the Imam is talking about here is reality. Like, this is actually happens when somebody drinks salt water. They will eventually die when they do that. So don't drink salt water. Okay, but he's not talking about something. He's using as an example. He's saying that the likeness of the dunya is like the likeness of the salt water. So this question is for the sisters, that what do you think is meant by the dunya here? Like, what is it? What's being referred to here? What is this dunya? Like, how would you explain it? Anybody? No? Okay. Our brothers? Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much. There was a beautiful lecture for Shaheed Sayyid Muhammad Baqir al-Sadr, rahmatullahi alayh, where he talked about the love of Allah versus the love of dunya. And he talked about this hadith about drinking the seawater is resembling it to the love of dunya. When you take a sip of it, you would need more to crush the thirst. And then apparently you will continue to go in that circle that never ends until one dies, just like what you explained. So dunya can be anything. Halal doesn't have to be haram. Dunya can be property, can be wealth, can be family, extended family, things in halal way. And then it tends to come to you because it's beautiful. It's beautiful to have a big house. It's beautiful to have many cars. It's beautiful to have good things to enjoy in this dunya. So one needs to be careful of these beautiful blessings and bounties that come our way, and the way that we start interacting with them in a daily basis without us knowing, without us feeling how we are now depending on them to balance. And then the danger part, when one enjoys the halal things, is that if, let's say, something would happen to cut these beautiful things, then how do we react? So apparently, let's say you're facing a situation where the zalim would come to you and say, I would maybe cause something that you will be fired off from your work, and you would lose that income. So what do you do? So that's where the challenge would come. What do you do about this? And then Sayyid Muhammad Baqir Sadr rahmatullah alayh gave an example of Abdul Rahman ibn Auf, where he was there in that committee, and there were 5 of them. And instead of choosing Imam Ali alayhi salam, he chose the 3rd caliph. And the reason for that was money, because he was enjoying that income, and he knew that Imam Ali would cut that income. So unfortunately, because of the way that hubbu dunya, in a halal way, he was getting it from his allowance, but unfortunately that decision where he made, it was the end for the blessings of Allah for him in this dunya and the hereafter. So we can apply that on our lives at a smaller scale, of course, but that decision can really take us from the heaven to an undesirable place.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So to summarize, the dunya is not just the physical earth that we live in, but rather it has to do with those things that we interact with, whether they be physical or whether it be things of like status or attachments or emotions that we have. But when they don't have Allah, it's something where Allah is absent from them. We're not doing them. We don't have them, according to the guidelines that Allah has given us, or they are something that we have, but the intention of God is not there. And as the hadith says, the more that somebody has this, then it can take it, they would want more and more, and that's the intoxicating nature, and the it's a type of thing which fools somebody. They think that they're getting something from this, but actually what's happening is that they're wanting more and more. So ahsantum. So we're going to go now to the second hadith from the Imam. And here in this hadith he says, استحيوا من الله في سرائركم كما تستحيون من الناس في علانيتكم. He says that when you are when you are alone, when you are not in the public eye, when you're, let's say, at home or you're in your private sphere, then you should have haya of Allah. You should have a sense of shame and a sense of like kind of acting in a proper manner and haya with Allah, the same way that when you're in public you have that sense of shame with respect to the people. So when you're in private, have that shame with Allah the same way that you have the shame like you're in public with the people. So why do you think it is that people tend to act differently when they're alone in private versus when they're with people? This is just a kind of a philosophical question. What is it that, why is it that people tend to do this here? So any of the sisters, you can come up and take the microphone. We don't have too many sisters who are brave today to come up and do it, but that's okay, inshallah, that's fine. Anybody? Okay, so brothers, any comments? Like, what is it? Why do people, this is a tendency that people have, right? They act differently. They have a certain sense of, behavior and appropriateness when they're in public that maybe they don't have when they're in private. What is it? Okay. Ahsantum. Okay. Why is that though? Why? You're right, but why? Okay. Yeah. Okay, but oftentimes it's not just something which is related to belief, right? All Muslims, everyone bears witness to Allah being Allah. Allah is the one who has all the perfect attributes, right? He's not limited in any way. I mean that he is, like as you said, brother, he's Hadir and he's Nadir. He's present and he's observant over everyone and everything at all times. So he's omnipresent, he's all seeing, he's all hearing. But why is it that people have this tendency to kind of put away, let's say, temporarily become negligent about his presence, or they forget about his presence, right? And maybe it's because of this that when people become very much attached to the dunya, then they just sort of think of everything as being the dunya, right? So in the dunya, when something's there, you see it, right? When something's there, it has a physical form. Right? If it doesn't have a physical form, or it doesn't show up on your screen, then it's not there, right? So that's sort of the type of thinking, and it's very easy for somebody to fall into that type of, even though they have that belief, but their practice is something which is different, right? And really, like in this hadith right here is the key to solving so many of our problems, relationship problems, family problems, marriage problems, relationship with our kids, right? If we just take this one hadith and put it into practice, a lot of things can change. That if we knew that Allah was with us, let's say that I'm with somebody else and I'm talking to them, but I know Allah is there as well, right? Then maybe the tone of voice that I use, the type of etiquette that I display, it would be something which is different. Okay, the last hadith that I want to share with you this evening is a very beautiful hadith from the Imam alayhi salam. It has to do with the knowledge of Allah. So in this hadith, the Imam alayhi salam says, لَيْسَ بَيْنَهُ وَبَيْنَ خَلْقِهِ حِجَابٌ غَيْرُ خَلْقِهِ. All right, he says that there is no barrier between Allah and His creation except for His creation. Right, this is not an easy hadith to just like grasp and to just like understand. Like, yeah, okay, I got it. Okay, let's go on to the next one. No, there's something here, right? There's nothing between Him and His creation except for His creation. All right, now, anyone have any thoughts? What is this hadith trying to tell us? What can we learn from this hadith?
Thank you. So, might not be physical, might be the actual actions or the deeds that either brings us close to Allah subhanahu
Okay.
wa ta'ala or apart from Allah. And that's the fact.
Okay, so what Abdullah is referring to the concept that what masks us and what veils us from Allah is our deeds, or what brings us closer to Allah is our deeds. Okay, so that's a beautiful point. But let's hear from brother. Is it Amin? Amin, yes.
There's another hadith that says people are affected by the friends, like the people that are surrounded with. Like if I'm friend with a good person, like it can help me, can guide me. But if I'm befriended with a person who doesn't like, he's not a good guy, he's not a good person. So he probably he detaches me. That person detaches me from Allah. So I guess like it says that same way that we can get closer to Allah through a good person, good people, a good community, but same way we can like be detached from the right path with if we are surrounded with wrong people.
Okay, so I want to just rephrase what you're saying, but I mean that you're saying that it's the thing that creates a barrier between somebody and Allah is, like, for example, the friends, like the other creations they're the ones who become. Okay, thank you for that. So I appreciate your comment. I'm just checking the time for Salah here. Okay, and it looks like we are done with our. So just to summarize, then, to end, Ayatollah Jawadi Amuli, Hafidahullah, he says regarding this hadith that when it comes to let's say that we're blocked by somebody through a curtain. Let's say that there's a curtain, there's somebody on the other side. Here we have three things. We have the person here, we have the curtain, and then we have the one that's being blocked, right? That's in the physical dimension. But in the spiritual dimension, when somebody is blocked from Allah, there's not three things, there's two things. Because Allah is fully aware of this person who is not aware of Allah. Fully, because this person would not be save for Allah. So there's only that person and Allah, and the problem here lies with that person, not with Allah. So it's that creation themselves, because of their deeds, or because of, let's say, their associations with those who are far from Allah, that has led them to have this type of spiritual blindness with respect to the position of Allah. May Allah Ta'ala help us to understand the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt, to apply them in our lives and to convey them to others as well. Please recite salawat.